The original homestead was about 1871, and they come out of Indiana and Ohio. And they come down here by wagon and then built the house. They lived in a granary first, and they shipped the lumber down here on the railroad, and the total house cost $2,200. They had a school north of there. It was called Ozark District 13. And I went to school there through 6th grades, and so did my sister Connie. There was always something to do. I had a horse named Tucson. He was a pinto pony, and I rode him bareback everywhere. You kind of made your own fun. I would break fruit jars. I'd make mud pies, shoot firecrackers, and things like that. When I graduated in '59, and then I worked for Howard Van Heuser, who trained greyhound racing dogs. Then after that, I spent 6 years in the Army Reserves, from '69 to about '75. LD lived to be 71 years old, and he ran the farm, and my dad and his brother worked the farm. Dad taught school for 46 years, plus worked the farm. Then I started doing most of the stuff at home because Dad was in school, and I took care of most of the cattle. Then we had family. Brian was born in '70, Brad in '75, and Beth in '80.
You know, you grow up with all the stories of, you know, LD and all the ancestors that lived here in Farlington and lived on that piece of property, on that piece of land, and you know, the pride that you develop from that, and just the lifestyle, I think, kind of gets in your in your blood.
Like Brad, I was kind of steered away from it, kind of, really, in a way, you know, when I went to school and stuff, I guess, and I just kind of in my blood. And
they kind of followed me. They worked at the sale barn some, and we hauled hay for about everybody in the country. We done custom baling too. And we would haul 10,000 bales of straw. He guaranteed us 10,000 bales. They would take them to Indiana and Illinois and bring John Deere equipment back. You started when you was about 10 to 12 years old. That's what both the boys did too.
You know, as you grow up and you watch, and then you eventually, you know, he says it's 10 or 12, it happens a little bit faster, I think. As soon as you're able to pick something up, you're helping on a farm. And
oh, hey, they made enough money about for their own college education by hauling. We got 50, when we quit, we was getting 50 cents a bale. And we'd haul 2,000 a day, 7 days a week. We worked almost 40-some days in a row over at Lamar without a day off. It never rained.
So, simple life. Summertime, you didn't spend the time with your friends that a lot of other people did. You maybe didn't get to be on the baseball team or a lot of the teams that you wanted to be on and do because you were there on the farm and you were working. You know, Dad talked about working 45 days in a row in the hayfields. That was your life, and so I feel very fortunate myself. I think I have a fairly good work ethic, and that all can be attributed actually back not to anything of me, but to being raised on a farm.
At one time, when interest got 19%, I had to make a choice of losing it all or trying to keep part of it. And that was back in the early 80s. And I had a loan through FHA. At FHA, you made a payment a year. Well, I had never missed a payment. It was a real tough decision because I had to try to keep the homestead. I felt in my heart and let other places that I'd just bought go back, you know. So I had to make a decision on what to do.
We were right there as decisions are being made and things are happening. I have memories of that and you know, the fear of, you know, that piece of property so it could stay in our family. And you know, I'm not going to speak for Brian, but you know, that's not something that, you know, Charlton Heston, you know, you're going to take it from my cold dead hands, I think.
I wanted to keep it so we'd have some way that we could make a living off the farm where everybody contributed and we kept it in the family. Everybody was down. Very few wanted to give everything up and tried to stay in it.
Just a lot of pride that he was able to work through that hard time of the 80s and 90s. And
seeing what went on before, yeah, it has helped some of your decision making and stuff like that. What he went through, and try to do other things just to, in case something don't work at some, you know what I mean, at some points.
I always had a backup plan. In other words, it's like hauling hay. Do some job that nobody else wants to do and you'll make money, you know. And nobody wants to sweat and haul hay. I worked the sale barn, I worked the farm, and the hay. A lot of times we'd haul hay till 3 in the morning and have to be at the sale barn at 7.
you know, there's you learn on a farm that there's sacrifices that you know, we don't get as many family trips probably as most people get. We don't, you know, that's something we didn't talk about, and you didn't talk about my dad. You know, I don't remember as a kid many family trips. You know, he may have a bowling league, and we may go to Springfield on the one weekend, and that was your trip for the summer. That's what you did. And so I think he mentioned it in there. You know, you find things that nobody else wants to do, and things that are hard, and it's easy to make a living at doing those things because nobody else wants to do it.
I would want, you know, my boys to not hold on to it if it was going to ruin their life, you know. Let it go, you know. And that's the way I had to feel after a while. But it's easier to say it than do it.
It won't be sold if I have anything to do with it, it won't be sold in my lifetime.
We have succeeded, and it was worth the effort to go through that to hold on to the land. I'm pleased that they have kind of come in and took over and let me sit in the easy chair for a while, and they know, they have the knowledge, and Brian has the feed experience, and Brad has the know-how of selling the stuff, and working together they got a good business.
Yeah, you know, I thought that I could get away from it, and you know, basketball and coaching and teaching became a huge part of my life. It became kind of my identity and who I was, and I've spent, you know, a lot of time with that. I've put a lot of time into that game, and a lot of time into coaching and teaching and all of that. But I really felt like there was something missing. You know, there was always that something like, what is it? I wasn't being real honest. I wasn't completely, I was very happy with my professional life, but in my personal life, not really happy at all. Just felt very conflicted, felt like something was missing, felt like, you know, something was out of place. You know, and then obviously opportunity came. Brian, it might have been at a holiday or something, we were looking to find a place, and you know, he had some land, and there was a storage building on it, and the taxes were going to go way up on it for him, and it you know, became an opportunity for us to get back out to the farm. And you know, it was one of those things that it really, once I got out here, I figured out what was missing and what had been missing all that time in between.
Brad had, you know, brought it up, and we thought it was a, you know, good thing to try.
You know, as luck would have it, at that time, you know, cattle prices were down a little bit. It was in the down cycle of cattle, and it was able to buy back in, scrape 2 or 3 head, starting out and whatnot.
And it's nice to see them, watch them, grow from what they are to what they become, I guess, perspective-wise. And at first, I know we started with corn and DDG ration that we had at one point in time, and they just didn't clean it up real well, so we kind of went to a corn and soybean meal ration where they cleaned it up.
Eventually, also within this timing, COVID happens, and with that, our cattle were still selling unbelievably cheap at the sale barn. When you went to the grocery store, and obviously living on a farm, you don't have to buy meat, but you look at the prices of meat, and I think its height, it got up to like $10 a pound during COVID, and so you're wondering why you're selling your cattle and your beef up at the sale barn, and it's only bringing this, and then you turn around and these packers and all these other people have to be making unbelievable profits. You're the person that goes out to the pasture and sees that calf being born, and you're the person who grows it all the way up and gets it to a point of sale, and then they have it for like 2 weeks and they make 3 or 4 times the profit. So
boy, it's good to watch them grow. And we had the pulled Herefords, and then we had Angus, and then we kind of went to the Simmental Angus, where they got more growth, as far as, because some of them calves weigh 150, 200 pounds bigger than what we had. We used to have kind of straight Angus cattle, and then we went to the Simmental Angus cross. Hope you don't price as high as this beef is now. Price yourself out of business, of course. We try to keep it to where, as much as we can, but it's challenging the way the beef prices are right now, as far as, keeping them to where everybody can afford to,
Overall, people don't know how our food is grown, both our crops and our livestock. They don't understand, and so there's a lot too. Instead of when you sell direct, there's a lot of information you have to give each individual customer to help them make sure that that's the decision they want to make. The hard sale is right at the beginning, to get them to take that chance, to get them to make that leap into purchasing that first beef, whether it be a quarter, and they get our product, and it tastes different and better in every way. We have about 90% of people come back and reorder. So, I think the proof's in the pudding with that of, when you put a good product out there, people come back to it. The Toast restaurant, they real good. They track all the way over, businesses that make that decision to go with us. It's not a simple thing for them either. It's not being delivered right to their door like that. That corporation's going to do for them. They make the trip all the way over to Moran, just like our individual customers do. We have a big individual customer base, but Matt has to, on a Monday or Tuesday morning early, make a trip all the way over to Moran, Kansas, and grab that beef and actually lift that beef and take it and haul it all the way back to his store. The Toast restaurant actually has them butcher it for them. So their process is a little bit easier. They get the packaged meat just like our individual customers do. And so, but they still make that trip all the way over there. I can't say enough, Matt DeMoss and the meat shed, and that was a big critical thing early on, and it happened early on in us doing this. He got on board with us and was willing to use our beef in his wonderful shop. He has a great, and it's like when you go back in his shop, it's like going back in time, and you see how meat markets used to be and how they should be. He started carrying our beef, and he also promotes us through the meat shed, and he sells our beef through there, and there'll be some people like, hey, I really like this. I'd like to not just get like 1 or 2 steaks, and I think Matt and us both, it's kind of a synergy. Will always be one of my greatest memories in my lifetime and I've had some good memories in my lifetime. Will be taking my dad to that shop. I was able to take Dad there, and he's got our beef, and he put Herlocker Farms beef up in there, and Dad was able to see that and see kind of how it all worked and whatnot, and so there's a lot of pride there that he took that chance on us to provide that for him, and what he's done for us. I couldn't repay him enough for that. It's critical that we teach people and that people understand, hey, this is where this comes from. And if we swallow up all of the land, we're not going to eat. And the amount of pride, there's a lot of people, I think, that attack farmers that, we're exploiting animals and we're doing this and we're doing that. And that I don't know that they know the respect and love that we have for those animals. We go, every Sunday we go out and feed those animals, and we watch them grow up. And it's almost like they're a part of our family, and being able to watch things grow. It's farming, that's about the only place you can get it. I'd love to see more people move to a farm, more people become farmers, because I think it's a wonderful way, it's a wonderful life.
That's what I see different now. We don't use what we got, that we just go ahead and plunge, But the good thing was, back then, one guy might have a hay baler and the other a thrashing machine. But 10 people, they'd go to 10 people's different house. It didn't take near the equipment.
I've always said Girard's a special place, and I do think Girard, that mentality that my dad talked about of, that spirit that, hey, I've got a rake, you've got a baler, those people over there can haul it, and between everybody, the job gets done, and it gets done very, very well. And so I think we're able to provide a really good product to the meat shed. We're able to provide a really good product to toast, and in turn, they have, they support us greatly, and again, marketing and that end of it, and it just all comes together very, very well.